Strategy Battle gamers around the world, welcome to yet another GBHL podcast, YouTube channel video. You're here with your channel host GBHL James, back again after a bit of a stream of content. And for this week's Speak, Friend and Question, as you can see, Jamie isn't here. Jamie's not able to get together with me this week, but we are aiming to get together to do a few things like army reviews and Speak, Friend and Questions going forward. So instead, manning his position, we have... It's Benjamin Bowles, everybody.
Hello.
Now, some of these guys out there, they'll know of you. They might have seen you on YouTube already.
Maybe, if they've been watching some of the content previously.
Yeah, so you have been on Speak, Friend and Question before here on the GBHL podcast. You've also filmed a couple of battle reports with me, particularly on Hot Gates Gaming.
Yeah.
In fact, I think
one of the most recent one's the Angmar vs Gondor.
Angmar vs Gondor, yeah. Which came out of the shadows after
9 months or something.
9 months of being on the memory card, and then it was my experiment, I guess, with doing the editing software again. Was getting it out there, but you actually featured in probably one of the most viewed strategy battle gaming battle reports I put out there, which was the Gondor versus Eastlings report, which aesthetically and visually was very pleasing to a lot of people. That was lots of fun, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. A lot of silver versus gold. It looked really, really good. Yeah. I got battered.
Oh, spoilers! Spoilers! They might have wanted to go and watch that. It was a great game. Really, really good fun. So you can see Ben on those, and you have been popping up in various other places as well in the community. Of course, you're a frequent poster on the Great British Hobbit League Facebook group. Yeah. You like commenting and getting involved in discussions on there.
Absolutely.
You also have your own YouTube channel, don't you?
I do. Benji B SBG. There's just a few hobby vlogs and stuff on there. Nothing on this scale, but yeah, it's just.
Well, I mean, we haven't done anything for a long time. I mean, if people are new to the channel, then it looks like we're huge because we've done an awful lot previously. But obviously, a bit of a re-kicking up the bum recently with the new edition of the game coming out. And how have you been finding that? Have you been super stoked? You've been enjoying it?
Really, I was really looking forward to it. Now that the books are out, it's taken me quite a long while to digest everything because there is a lot to go through there, and there's a lot of things that. Are very sort of subtle changes that actually, when you first read through, you don't necessarily pick up on it. It's only when somebody else sort of mentions it, or you kind of look into it into a little bit more detail. That's where it kind of makes you realise that there is a big difference then between this edition and the previous edition. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving it so far. I've not played any games with the new rules or any sort of army lists or anything yet, but that is still to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots to look forward to. I hope you guys out there are super stoked. I'm sure you are, especially with the kind of resurgence of content to go alongside the new edition of the game. I mean, the last Speak, Friend and Question with Jamie jumped up to like 2,500 views in no time at all, which for a Speak, Friend and Question, I'm sure these will slowly start plummeting down when everybody realises I don't really know what we're talking about. For a Speak, Friend and Question, 2,500 views is mega, and there's like 150 likes or something as well. So thanks so much, guys, because that encourages us to want to put on more content when you're supporting it. And we've got a bunch of questions to get through today, Ben, so I think we should get started. So you are the guest, so you can start things off. You've got Stephen Gill.
He says... they are back. Had to do a double take though. YouTube had thrown up an old video, read 4 minutes at 4 years. Great stuff.
Yep. So basically, he had to do a double take because he thought that YouTube had thrown up an old video. He read that it was 4 minutes as 4 years. No, we were. Well, I say we are back. We were back a week ago. We are back making some content. Last night, for example, did the in-depth Rohan faction review. Couldn't help myself, to be honest. I needed to just get out there. I was getting lots of messages. I just needed to talk Rohan language for what turned out to be an hour and a half. Now our goal with Speak, Friend and Question is to try and get it under an hour. Me and Jamie weren't too far away last time.
Was it just over about an hour 10?
About an hour 10, which was pretty good timing as well, because we just run out of storage. Now we've actually got 4 hours and 6 minutes worth of storage that we can fill here, and 321 minutes of battery life with my huge battery from China. So next up we've got Ryan Ratchford. He's going to be attending the Desolation of Stockport 2019. Which that's sold over 50 tickets already.
Fantastic.
Which is amazing. There's another 30 odd people there on the interested list as well, and our capacity is 90. So if you're looking for an event to go to next year, in the early part of the year to test out the new rules and like new armies, Desolation of Stockport, of course, that's the one that me and Jamie have been running for the last 5 years at Element Games. So hopefully see that. Are you coming?
I am indeed. Already got my ticket.
There you go. Well, you clever boy, because they're going quick. Got in quick. So Ryan Ratchford says, it's great to see you guys back. I presume this means the triple loop is broken though. What am I saying? It will never break. Those of you that are relatively new, you'll have no idea what that's a reference to. I mean, I'm part of this show, and it's that long ago since that reference, I've even forgotten what it's all about. I apologise, Ryan Ratchford. We've got another welcome back from Gavin Butler. Thank you very, very much. So the next question is, I'll let you try and...
No worries. It's from Andreas Lundstrup Amisbol. Glad to see you guys back. Really love your campaign videos, but with you having difficulty finding the time to go do battle reports, how likely is the Two Towers campaign to continue?
Well, that was very much GBHL Harry and GBHL Jamie's baby, I believe. I mean, those two do still see each other. Both of them are, I'm sure you'll all be pleased to hear, in healthy relationships. I was trying to remember what word to use.
Loving relationships.
Loving, yeah. No, they're having a great time. They've got their partners are wonderful humans. And they seem to be spending a lot of time with them. So, I mean, I'm sure they'll get together at some point in the future. Whether they will resume that, who knows? I'm afraid I can't answer that. Life makes all of this tough. This is no quick feat. You've just seen me trying to get up the in-depth Rohan review.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how many hours?
It's 2-3 hours it's taken to.
Well,
not even longer than that actually. What time?
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Well, since before 10 o'clock, I started rendering that. So. In fact, even before that, that's a bit depressing. From 8 o'clock this morning, and it's now 3:20, and it's just gone up. So that gives you an idea of some of the rendering, exporting, and it had already been edited, so that gives you a really good idea. Thanks for that, Andreas. Next up, we got Surge Seas. But hey, just a question: Galadriel from the White Council is able now to carry troops from Lorien, or is like in SBG? That if she is from White Council, she can't lead troops.
Get the book and have a quick look.
Let's have a little bit of a look. So, Galadriel as listed in the White Council. Well, if she's coming as part of the White Council, she's coming as part of the White Council, isn't she? She's not coming as...
Yeah, she won't be leading troops.
She won't be leading troops as part of the White Council, which is pretty straightforward, in my opinion. Where is the White Council? Where is the White Council?
I don't think there is a White Council, is there?
I'm not too sure. Oh, that's because the White Council is, of course, in the Hobbit.
That'll be it.
Hobbit supplements. But yeah, I mean, if you bring Galadriel as part of the White Council, she's not going to be leading.
But if she's coming as part of Lorien, then obviously she is going to be leading troops.
Absolutely. So I think that's pretty straightforward. I think that's what you're asking there, buddy. Next up, we have got Debbie.
So Wood Elf Warriors got Elven Cloaks, though, Jamie. I'm guessing that's in reference to something Jamie said last week.
Yeah, Jamie was very upset about the state of Lorien going into the new game, having lost Thranduil and Legolas from the army list. So he was pretty upset about that. And we were also talking about Wood Elf Warriors in comparison to Galadriel Warriors. Now that was somebody's question, because the Galadriel Warrior is just 1 point more, but is of course 2 extra defence. Has got the 2 extra defence and can go up to defence 6. So sure, the Wood Elf has got the Wood Elf Spear, but that's something that I don't think Jamie noticed. Jamie didn't notice that that they've got the Elven Cloak included in those points, which...
But the Elven Cloak only works for terrain now, doesn't it?
I'm not too sure.
I believe.
Have you read that?
I'm pretty
I'll
sure.
let you pull that out. It might be a lot of this with the new edition of the game being out, but that's really interesting. Now, why I find that particularly interesting is I wonder what the changes to Mirkwood Rangers then, when we see the armies of the Hobbit, are going to be, because of course they are costed as having an Elven Cloak included, which is adding on, 5 points onto their profile, which is. It makes them a bit too expensive, to be perfectly honest. I'm not sure that they are cheaper than a 10-point troop, really, but they're coming at 14 points currently.
So yeah, it counts as a stalk unseen special rule. So if a model with this special rule is partially concealed from view by a piece of terrain, they cannot be seen at all at distance of more than 6 inches.
There you go. Look at that. That's
so you can't hide them behind your troops in front now. It has to be a piece of terrain.
Yeah, I mean I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, you've not got sort of a rear rank which are being covered over by a front rank that you can't necessarily shoot, so that's going to obviously massively affect supporting lines of Woses in particular.
I always felt like it was a little bit abused in the last edition, and with some armies.
Yeah, potentially, and I think if you're giving things like Wood Elf Warriors, Elven Cloak, and then you're not able to hit the back rank of who are shooting, then that's going to cause a few little issues. So I kind of like that change. So yeah, I think the most interesting thing about them having Elven Cloak included is the fact that they've not, maybe they're paying the 1 point for that Elven Cloak. They're paying 1 point for the Elven Cloak. They're getting the Elven Made Hand and Half Sword. They're not having to pay for Elven Blades now.
No.
However, that's getting included. So actually, maybe they've not gone downhill as maybe GBHL Jamie thought. But the GBHL Jamie has replied, and he's put Elven Cloak only work with terrain now. I can see having 1 or 2 for objective play being useful, but in any other circumstance, I'd pay the points increase myself for defense 5 to defense 6. Yeah, so I see what he's doing there. You want an army which is a little bit more survivable. I completely understand that there. Next up, we've got Wes Addy. He's put Lothlorien Rohan, probably based on the movie's depiction of Helm's Deep, and I think he's talking about alliances in here, which absolutely will be the case, right?
I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that the alliances and a lot of the I guess the fluff that I've been putting into this have been based on the films before the books.
Yeah,
because obviously that's what the whole visual the visuals of the miniatures are all based off the film. So I'm guessing that would make more sense that they take precedent from what is seen in the films rather than in what is in the books.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that the way that it has to work for their licensing agreements and the like is that films trump books. So anything that is sort of clearly done in the movies already, they have to kind of take that path, which I guess makes sense as well, because they've got a huge amount of success, the movies, and they've got something visually that they can already work from.
Yeah.
Which is kind of there. But yeah, I think that Lothlorien Rohan, interesting combination. You see people putting together Helm's Deep themed forces. So thank you very much for that, Wes Addy. We've got Simon Lee who says hooray, they are back, and then we've got a question from the OC.
Oh my god, it's back. Could it really be? Speak friend in question. Anyways, good to see more content starting to come out again. So excited about the new rules and books, and like everything that's been happening, what a perfect time to get back into the hobby once more, just to become broke student going into university for first time. Perfect. That's what student loans are for.
Do you go to university?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I did spend a lot of my student loan on miniatures, which I'm now in a way I'm quite glad about, because actually I've got a huge collection of stuff that still needs painting mostly, but yeah, that's not sound financial advice. Spend it on your education.
There you go. There you go, from Mr. Bowles himself. Thank you very much for such a lovely comment there, OC, and everybody as well. There's a lot of warmth in this Speak Friend question. A lot of people quite happy to see that we were back together and we were alive, which is nice. We've got Peter Holden next. He put, interesting that you guys thought that the courage element of Fury was the most important. I understand this when Fury is considered in the context of orcs and goblins as a way of counteracting their low courage. However, in the context of Uruks and Easterlings who have an average courage value, I'd have thought that the 6+ save was the most important element of Fury. Well, in those situations, you definitely channel it. I mean, you definitely channel it anyway, because to go from a 1 in 6 to a 1 in 3 chance is great. But I mean, those are reasonably high defense armies, so it's not like a goblin army where it might come up a lot, the opportunity to use that save. Don't get me wrong, it can be incredibly infuriating, especially as a somebody who does like all hero and Rohan armies, and you're trying to get heroic combats off and the like, and then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, I've got to save, I've got 3 Fury saves that I need to make. Oh, look at that, 5, 5, 6, and you're like, oh, that's so annoying. But it's the courage part, I think, it is the biggest part of the rule.
I think whenever I've played, I think the Fury save has actually been quite important. Like you say, it can be incredibly frustrating for people, isn't it? And for me, when I have played it, I'm not as potentially as a competent player as you, shall we say? But I think all right, don't need to rub it in. I think that has really made the difference. Is more not necessarily the courage side of things. It very much depends on what you're up against, though, I guess.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff with terror and things out there. Even Uruks at courage 4, 3, 4.
Yeah, courage 3.
Courage 3. That they are going to fail probably more often than not.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean the ability to. I mean, it depends what constitutes your army. So, for example, if you've got a berserker or a Ferrerker, a la GBHL Damien style army, you're high courage anyway. So the Fury isn't sort of the be all and end all, and yet having that 5+ save can really make the difference. But I think that as time went on, I think GBHL Damien sort of went away from that route a little bit and started making sure that he was bringing 3 might heroes, and making sure that he had might in there, because might wins games. It really, really does. So, I've always found that the courage element of it, and just being able to charge whatever they want, especially when the meta has been so dominated by seeing so many fell beasts and the like, the fact that you can just guarantee that you're getting everything to sort of charge. And also, it's pretty infuriating when there are lots of scenarios, or especially there was a lot of scenarios in the old source books, which, to get the main chunk of your VPs, you would need to break the enemy. Nothing more frustrating than having to kill like 40 odd goblins, or 18 defense 6 Urukai of some way, shape or form, and then they're not running away. That's pretty tough, and I think it was always that kind of thing that you would think that an evil army in particular, that its big weakness would be sort of its backbone, and Fury of course kind of completely bypassed that. So we're not saying that the save itself wasn't incredibly useful, especially when channeled. You'd always channel Fury if you could. Having a save on a 1 in 3 chance to save a model is really useful, but always really the courage side of it seemed to be the stronger side from my own experience.
Do you think that with monsters potentially becoming a bit more prevalent in the new meta, that they might become a bit more
Why do you think that monsters will become more prevalent?
Maybe magic's not quite as strong as it was, so obviously monsters always just tended to get shut down because they've got no will points to resist.
But then you've got the counter meta to that. So the big thing that magic not being as strong as in the game is going to affect is being able to bring big beefy heroes, and big beefy heroes in this game, or heroes in this game, are absolute game changers, as they should be in Middle-earth, right? They really are. And big heroes kill monsters. Big heroes, especially heroes that can strike and the like. Heroes can kill monsters reasonably easy, and the hit to hurl, in particular, I think is gonna hurt monsters. Does that mean that we're not going to see monsters? No, but I mean, I think we're going to see some eagles out there, man. Like, eagles are good. Eagles are good. I think that you would see a few more Ents as well, if they hadn't already kind of toned down things like Sorcerer's Blast, Transfix, Compel, that kind of thing. But I think that we might see a few more of those things. In terms of evil monsters, I'm not so sure. What were the evil monsters that we saw the most of in the last edition? It was ring wraiths on fell beasts. So it's fell beasts themselves, and the fact that a lot of these ring wraiths do not have access to heroic strike. And that spells have been hit quite a lot. I don't know whether we're going to see as much of them going forward. It's all very interesting. So in turn, do I think that the courage element will be as important? I think it is. I just think there's not many things more infuriating than sort of chopping through a bunch of goblins and them not running away. Yeah. Because remember that Fury affects the heroes. That means that they've got stand fast and stuff as well. So.
True. Yeah.
Killer. So next up we have got Skartan. He's put. I find it kind of lazy that they pretty much gave poison weapons to 3 armies: Mordor, Harad, and Durin's folk. Also about Easterlings, in a 1 hour 30 tournament game, how often does one party actually get broken? Well, if it's a 1 hour 30 tournament game, then you're probably paying at 500 points or less. If you're trying to fit in anything more than that in an hour 30, then games aren't really going to be coming to natural conclusions. No. As you've found the hard way in various tournaments that I've either run or attended. In terms of finding it kind of lazy, GW like re-rolling ones across their systems. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I've not played a massive amount of other systems, so I'm not
Having watched other content, you know, I do like to keep an eye on things like miniwargaming.com. Even though I don't play 40k or really Sigma or anything yet, I do like to keep an eye on it, especially when new things are coming out. You know, and you do see that there is a lot of re-rolling one type rules in there. And I think that's because it's not something which is overpowered, but it's just enough, and it's quite exciting as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's an exciting moment. Oh no! Oh, everyone! I'll get to do it again. You know, it creates a certain kind of feel in the game. What would you do instead? Like, what would be your replacement to those type of rules? Let us know in the comments below for next week. Let's go to next up we've got Bradley Cobden.
Thanks for a great video, guys. What profiles and models would you use to represent the men of Numenor who were corrupted by Sauron and attempted to sail to the Undying Lands? Sorry, I can't remember the specific names. I need to reread the Silmarillion.
So what profiles and models would you use to represent? So someone's answered and said on the side there are Black Numenorians that I think should be representation of the corrupted men. Bradley says he's not a fan of the aesthetic of the Black Numenorians.
I'm not either.
I'm not, and that's a Weta thing. That's not a Games Workshop thing. The Black Numenorian look, I wasn't a huge fan of. Like, I thought the Mouth of Sauron was cool, but then I don't think you needed to replicate that as being the Black Numenorian.
No,
the Black Numenorian should look like a
Numenorian, but with slightly different armour or different symbolism and stuff.
Angrier faces.
Yeah,
something like that. Sabbath kind of face, you know what I mean? In terms of profiles or models, I guess you go for Numenorians, don't you?
Yeah.
Go for Numenorians, and you go for like the Numenor. Numenor are good.
They are.
Numenor are good. Numenor are
really
good. Numenor are really good in this edition. Should we have a little look at Numenor? This isn't an army review video, but let's just have a quick look at how good Numenor are.
The heroes are amazing.
Heroes are amazing.
They're an army on their own, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, all hero armies would be daft not to try and include, if they can, especially because you can ally them with the elven heroes, which are also amazing, and that works out quite well. Where are they? Surely, they're before. Okay, so, and then we're not going to go into detail. I mean, they got the army bonus where they increase their courage value by 1. Again, you know, I think we talked about this. I talked about it in me in-depth Rohan review. We've not done a video together for a while. But I think that people, when they see +1 courage, it's not as showy as getting like +1 strength or +1 fight, so it seems like it's less good. But when your heroes...
I think we did discuss this on the last video that we did, last week, random question that we did, and I was almost a little bit disappointed.
How do you remember that?
Because it was in reference to Gondor, who
had... for Throne of
Skulls, that was it.
And was it me explaining to you that Gandalf the White could lead them and he would go up to courage 8 and basically pass?
That was it. And
stand fast.
Yeah, and actually that's where, you know, that +1 courage actually does make a huge difference to it's amazing.
But there's a big difference between being courage 3 and 4, being 4 and 5 as well. Like there really is when it comes to actually playing the game. But yeah, Elendil is an absolute beast. I mean, unbending resolve always counts having fortified spirit. This is always an effect, even if his will is down to 0. I mean, he just is not getting. Oh, he's just so good. He is
all the heroics, all the good ones.
Yeah, he's got good ones in there. Isildur's good. I do like this Blood of Numenor as well. So the Warrior of Numenor, they're a bit stronger now, which I think makes sense to represent. Obviously, you know, Numenorians being sort of bigger, sturdier dudes. Sort of more akin to their elven, because although elves are strength 3, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. But Blood of Numenor is a special rule, gaining a resistance to the magic special rule whilst they're within 6 inches of Elendil, Isildur, or Anarion. Something to look forward to, everybody.
Yeah. That's like a proper little, just dropping it in there just to make it...
It's like just take a little taste. Taste the future. Taste the rainbow.
I think that's a bit of a hint to Last Alliance, sort of...
Absolutely, I think, yeah. I think that's going to happen. I think that's definitely going to happen. Alexander Kidd put, can a dragon heroic challenge? Would that be a good strategy? Can a dragon heroic challenge? Should we have a look? Would you think that heroic challenging with a dragon would be a good strategy?
Depends against who. I think it's going to have a tough time against certain heroes. I think if he goes up against Aragorn, I think he's going to have a bad time because he's going to be wounded on 4s with Narsil, or Anduril, sorry.
No, they cannot heroic challenge, so
it's a moot point.
It's a moot point. I mean, whether it be a good idea or not. Remember, they do still have the whatchamacallit, survival instinct thing going on, which is pretty grim. Heroic challenge is going to be situational depending on any hero, not just a dragon. You know, you're going to have to weigh up game by game with anybody who's got heroic challenge on them, whether it's ever going to be worth it or not. So thank you very much for that question. James's Miniature Space says, I don't believe it! Neither did we. Nice to get together. So next up we've got the Scrumpy Kiwi.
So truly the new release is the community's reward for our steadfast loyalty and refusal to let the hobby die. Absolutely. Well done to everyone who has never put down the dice and kept Lord of the Rings alive.
That's you guys out there. Well done, everyone. And it does feel like that. It feels like, you know, the community have been putting an awful lot of hard work in, you know, up to and beyond, you know, that point, what is now a couple of years ago, when we found out that amazing news after a bit of a dark age that there was going to be a Middle-earth specialist games team, and everything that's happened since, you know, from that massive dwarf release at the first Ardacon, and you know, to this, to getting a new plastic model with Theoden.
Yeah.
A plastic Gandalf and Pippin, everybody.
It looks amazing.
It does look amazing. Because everybody needs a new Gandalf. Like, you know.
I've only got 2, so
you've got 2 Gandalf.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, Gandalf the White.
Gandalf the White. Yeah.
Gandalf generally.
Yeah.
About 15. Easily, but no, he's gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's a must get. I'm getting that. That's cool. That's very, very cool. So yeah, I mean, well done, everybody. I mean, this would almost certainly be happening if the community really kind of hadn't sort of taken the reins in those dark ages. Even
like 6 months ago, thinking of like a new starter set was probably a little bit, you know, it wasn't on anybody's minds. Maybe I don't know. It certainly wasn't on mine. It wasn't something I was expecting to see.
We have known for a while that they were going to be visiting Pelennor Fields, and that they would be visiting Osgiliath, and I guess it was going to be sort of in what kind of form. What would we see with that? Would it be you know, just a revisiting of heroes? Would it be that there would be some kind of source book to do with what was going on at that time that would include some of the new army rules? Like, how would it be? I mean, the fact that we've got these, like, a book for good and evil of the Lord of the Rings era, and we're going to have a book for good and evil for the Hobbit era. I mean, that I can still remember being sat in that first seminar up at Warhammer World when we all first saw Middle-earth strategy battle game. There's a great video on the GBHL podcast of me with a really good beard, which if you type in Middle-earth SBG is one of the first things that you see. It's a great beard. I had to get rid of it because of this type of thing. I've got like a little abscessy thing going on here. I've not been in a fight anybody who's actually managed to notice that.
I thought it was Jane that made you get rid of the beard.
No, it was good. Well, I would have kept it, you know, obviously, because I'm dead courageous in my relationship.
Yeah, definitely stand up for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I've not been grovelling to go to Stirling in November. So yeah, I mean, you know, ever since then we did hear. I can remember the questions and people asking, you know, what type of books we would see, and Adam actually sort of said out there, well, what would you rather have? Would you rather have like something which was a big tome that kind of had everything in that was actually a lot more expensive, or would you rather have lots of little ones? And I think the overwhelming response was to get something that was going to be like this, like a big rule book or big army books to rule them all. And I actually think the price point for them is pretty good.
It's fantastic. You know, considering, you know, the last books, what were they, £17 each, and you know, you've got everything in that.
These are good value books, you know, in the scheme of things. So yeah, well done everybody. I think we should all be proud of ourselves. Next up we've got Matt. He's put that suggestion to have a contested roll with modifiers based on heroic tiers for heroic action roll-offs is fantastic. It would be a good rule to include in some tournament packs or to use as a house roll. The only issue is that it can make some all-hero armies a bit too good. Yeah.
Might be why they didn't include it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I do like the idea of sort of being able to sort of +1 either way, depending on the top level of hero you've got. So if you've got a hero of legend, you know, a hero of legend is going for it, and you know the person countering that as the hero of valor, the hero of legend has got +1. You know, on that. You know, I think that's fine. You don't want situations, I suppose, where it's like plus. I think just having +1 maybe across the board if you're a higher level hero, rather than the idea of having +2. I think that +2, +3. But you know, I think that might make it a little bit too sort of overpowered. But having something or some way of having a way of affecting that role so it isn't 50-50, strictly 50-50 would be fantastic. I mean, I guess there is in some ways. So if you do a priority roll, it's not strictly 50-50 after the first priority roll, because whoever won priority last time has a bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So the odds are slightly against them on the next one. Okay, so we have that kind of slightly built in already. I guess with fight value, I guess, you know, if you get two, I guess matching fight value, it is just a 50-50. It is just a 50-50 at that point. And heroic move offs are just a 50-50. I think it's the move off is the key one.
Yeah,
where, you know, it really can be the winning or losing of a game.
Well, I think, you know, the example used is like, you know, is it going to be a goblin or is it going to be, you know, Aragon? Who's going to be listened to the most? Who's going to sort of be most commanding over their arbit?
Did you watch Speedman in Question?
I did. Yeah, I listened to it. Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. It's good to know that someone did.
That one view you had.
Absolutely. No, yeah, I like the idea of that, but it's all well and good saying this. It's not there. So, you know, that is possibly something I think GBHL James in particular would like to see. You know, having worked in sort of other board games and tabletop games and the like, now being in the industry, I think that that 50-50 situation coming up so often, particularly in competitive games, a game going on a coin toss can be frustrating sometimes. So next up we have got One Airs Coolermans.
Wagner order, use magnets. So I'm guessing this was in reference to how you take models off and stuff.
It just counters, I think, and
yeah,
I think having some kind of counter or having a dice next to it that, you know, it's down to 2 riders, down to 1 or whatever else.
I think like the model as it, or the Finecast model as it was it's all moulded into 1.
No idea.
Maybe I don't know. So yeah, that might be a little bit more difficult than.
I'll let you read the next one as well. We've got Connor.
So well done, guys. Without you, the Lord of the Rings game would have slipped away.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It is nice feeling like that. You know, and it isn't just us. You know, on the YouTube. You know, there've been. I guess. Ooh, watch that. Well, the laptop with the questions is balanced very precariously at the moment.
I just nudged it a little bit.
John Wayne over here is kicking off below the screen. So yeah, there have been, I guess, strategy battle gaming community heroes everywhere. You know, from just somebody who organises and is passionate about it in their local gaming store or GW or whatever else. Right through to people who run events and tournaments, to people who write blogs or do put images on forums or get involved in Facebook groups or run, you know, big events or do YouTube channels and everything else. So it's been a big effort from everyone, and even just, you know, the guys who continue to buy and be involved in that conversation and just sort of stuck with it. You know, it's been a big team effort. Next up we've got Magicus, a conjecture from someone who has followed the Tolkien world for longer than your lifetimes but has not played the game. In a couple of years, Amazon will be producing their Young Aragorn TV series, into which they are putting $1 billion. That's insane. You know,
phenomenal money. It's amazing.
It's an insane amount of money. $1 billion, that's a lot. I'm pretty sure that somebody explained to me sort of the difference between someone will correct me because I'm just trying to vaguely remember this, but they said if a million quid is 15 minutes, then £1 billion is like 30 odd years. Like that, it was something like that. There was, I'm sure somebody would be able to correct me, but I can remember just hearing it and being like, does anybody really need £1 billion?
Yeah.
Like,
well, we clearly do for this Amazon TV series.
That should be just a big cooperative. That's what it should all be. Okay, so no, literally $1 billion. GW may be revitalising this line in anticipation of that. If so, expect some scenarios involving Thorongil, young Aragorn, riding with the Rohirrim in the service of Thengil, Theoden's. I love it that you're explaining this to me, by the way. But it's good because there might be people out there who don't know. And putting down rebellion in Umbar for the Steward Ecthelion, Denethor's father, as well as his untold adventures in the east and south. That is a starting point, of course. Yeah. Absolutely, I'm super excited. I cannot wait to revisit Middle-earth in whatever guise it may be, and let's hope it's really good.
Absolutely, I'm quite excited for it. I think it will probably be visually a little bit different to what we've seen so far. Obviously it's going to be produced by a very sort of different studio and things, but we'll have to see. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be great.
I think that it's people's natural. It can be some people's natural position when they hear about, I guess, anything new is to become quite
almost negative about it, or preconceived ideas. And
yeah, absolutely. There's a sort of almost a conservatism of wanting to keep things sort of still in the way that they are, in the way that we remember it and what we love, and it could never be as good as that. It will never be able to replicate that. And I think you just got to take it as it is and for what it is whenever it comes. It doesn't always do well in life to make direct comparisons between two things that you might love for different reasons. So I think that I am excited for it, and I think that a young Aragorn is a great sort of tale to follow as a series. And it is going to be a little bit weird for those of us that have kind of grown up with Lord of the Rings and the movies and that aesthetic, and for those. But I'm sure it will stand up on its own. I mean, they're putting a lot of money into it, so that,
Do you know what would be great?
I won't be able to afford to.
It's when people start watching this series and they go, "It's just not as good as The Hobbit, is it?" I can't wait for that moment. It'd be like we've come full circle there.
Those posts might get deleted from the Great British Hobbit Facebook group. I think, that's a fabulous point. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'd be cool to sort of revisit Middle-earth, and I'm excited to that sort of coming and should it rear its face in strategy battle game, which I'm sure it will. Stephen Bonar.
Hashtag Middle-earth Looper. Welcome back after another year. Winky face. Look forward to seeing you both at Stirling this year. My questions this episode are, number one, how happy are you with our new edition? I think you've already covered that.
I'm happy to see new stuff. You?
Yeah, absolutely ecstatic. Really, really, really happy. The next question, what are you working on at the moment?
Well, funny you should say that, Stephen Bonar, because we've just been upstairs.
been upstairs.
We're in the cellar right now, by the way. We've been in the dining room doing a little bit of painting while we're waiting for the previous video to get it sat together.
Yep.
And you've been doing a bit of painting, haven't you?
I've been doing a bit of painting.
What have you been painting?
So I've been painting some Urukai Scouts, so just some of the plastics, and I've started on Lurts. I've gone for the...
Lurts is good.
Yeah, really good, really good.
Scouts are good.
So the bow down version of Lurts, so just looking to get him on the table sooner rather than later. I think he's the one Isengard hero that I haven't got painted, so yeah, I need to get him up and running.
Scout armies are cool. I've got a scout army that George Perkins painted who he sold to Jay Finnegan, who then when in turn sold it to me, which I was very pleased about. Scout armies look super cool, and they're good now. Lurtz is decent. A bit more expensive, but he's decent. In terms of what I'm working on, I've been up there just retouching up some Rohirrim, ready for selling. They've been on the shelf, ready to go for a little while, so they've collected some dust. So I'm just some of you are probably aghast, but it's an opportunity to paint a bunch of things new again. So yeah, some Rohirrim are going, so that I can rebuild just pure Royal Guard.
Making Rohan great again.
I think it'll be. I think I've got some Rohan heroes that are probably on my own list next.
Cool. Number 3. Where is the horse and the rider? I'm not sure what that's in reference to.
What? You don't know this one, the riddle? Where's the horse and the rider? Where's the horn that was blowing? You know this?
No.
No, it's
You're gonna have to.
Aragorn's rhyme. What? No. No.
No.
Where's the horn that was blowing? There passed like rain on the mountains, like wind in the meadow. The days have gone down in the west, behind the hills, into the shadow. Thank you very much for that, Stephen Bonner. Nice that with the re-emergence of content that it also means that I am seemingly, until I click on my Facebook notifications, incredibly popular again, because you've shared them on about 50 different platforms. So thank you very, very much. We've got Ryan Ratchford again. What do you think of the Lord of the Rings Amazon TV show? I've not seen it yet myself.
No, I've not seen it yet. No.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think we covered that before. Yeah, looking forward to that. I personally am looking forward to it, but I'd probably prefer something from Silmarillion over Aragorn's past. Hopefully, it's good. Thoughts? I think young Aragorn is a good place to kind of pick up.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Aragorn's very familiar to everybody. He's the main man in one of the main men in the Lord of the Rings. I think it's almost like an anchor back into something that people still recognise and people know who he is, and that actually it's almost like this will be like a prequel to it, which obviously it will be a prequel to it, but I think it's just that anchor back into something that is familiar.
And Silmarillion, and a lot of the stories from Silmarillion are not, they're not written as pieces. I mean, sure, you could reimagine them as such, but they are written as pieces of mythology, mythology really. So I'm not sure how great those Silmarillion stories would translate into TV. Maybe they would. I'd love to see it. Because I just want to go to Middle-earth whenever I can, for whatever I can. So, but I think young Aragorn makes sense for something which is going to be mainstream, or wanting to be mainstream. Put $1 billion into something if you want it to just be for fans. It's got to be mainstream, and I think Aragorn allows you to have that. Young Aragorn, there's enough going on, there's familiarity there,
and I think what it will also do is kind of expand on the whole world of Middle-earth a little bit. So actually, when I think the story, from what we've heard so far, it's going to be the first series is going to be young Aragorn, then it's going to sort of develop and potentially follow different areas in Middle-earth. I don't think it'll just be entirely about Aragorn. We don't know. But I think if it opens up some of those areas, and almost have almost like spin-offs from the original show, so it's almost building the world from that original series. So who knows what we'll see from that, really.
Absolutely. Next up we've got Philip Curran.
What Middle-earth SBG or just Lord of the Rings themed presents did you receive for Christmas this year?
Did I receive anything that was Lord of the Rings? I mean, I didn't get any SBG stuff for Christmas. That's never going to happen. Ever. What Lord of the Rings stuff did I get?
Do you want me to drop hits to Jane this year?
No. I'm trying to think. I mean, I think I got Star Warsy stuff this year, like Star Wars pyjamas and things like that. Did I get anything Lord of the Rings based? I've got a Gandalf Dormer. I don't know whether that was Christmas though, or my memory is terrible for stuff like this, so I don't know whether I got it on a birthday or whether it was Christmas or Father's Day or whatever else. So I think that's probably the last Lord of the Rings themed thing that Jane got for me. She did give me that poster. That was a while ago though now. Middle-earth map poster behind the camera. Yeah.
I got Beorn and Bear model, which I've recently painted.
Bought you that?
Lucy did. I had to kind of guide her in the direction of what I was after.
Did you give her my affiliate link for Element Games?
I think she bought it through GW.
I'm going to have to send a message to Lucy.
Still sporting the Hobbit hobby.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I'm going to have a word with you after this.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I was expecting that. I think that might have been it.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. We got Good Smeagol next. He's put, that is a fantastic idea regarding heroic moves and differing heroic tiers. Avoiding 50-50 roll-offs is best. Taskmaster could be fantastic mini for evil too, perhaps given an improvement of +1 to any evil hero calling heroic action for those roll-offs. They seem like the perfect mini for doing that sort of thing. Maybe if that was all that they did, but I know that they were quite keen to reduce the power of the Taskmaster. Because we saw a lot of Taskmasters in the old game, especially Haradrim Taskmasters.
He is pretty good, really, and especially I played a game with Gothmog, Witch King and a Taskmaster.
I mean, they're not as good now, it's down to 1 might, isn't he?
Yeah, but you know that ability to, because Gothmog's already got Master of Battle, and then the Taskmaster special rule just makes it even better. So even when they are using that point of might, they were it was just
I mean, I guess the good thing here is that it very much kind of lets you know which ones that you can do it for. So you can't just use it for any heroic. It's for heroic move, it's just the key one really, heroic march and heroic shoot. They're still good, still on a 4+. I thought maybe it'd go up to being a 5+. We've only got 1 might now.
4+ is still
half decent. Half the time, it's still pretty good. Thank you very much for that, Good Schmiegel. Next up, we've got Middle-earth Wargaming.
So cool to have you guys still going strong and enthusiastic. Always love your content. You've inspired my own YouTube video.
Excellent. So if you want to check out Middle-earth Wargaming's YouTube video, you can go and click on that unsolicited link on the questions from the last Speak Friend and Question video, not on this one. Okay, go and check that out. Next up we've got Craig Bass. He's put, hi guys, great to see the game coming back. Who can dwarves ally with? Well, do pick up your armies book, so that our job really isn't just to give you information from these books without you having to go and get it yourself. Which dwarves are you talking about? There's lots of dwarves. Which dwarves do you want? Who do you think that they would ally with? It's not my job to give people their alliance matrix, is it?
No.
No. Who do you think they would ally with? Let's have a look.
Mirren and Dra, though. They're allying with it.
Army of Thror can ally with... Who do you think that the Army of Thror can ally with? Who would you think, without looking?
Army of Thror? Gonna be Dale.
Dale, yeah. And who else?
Probably... I don't know. Who else would there?
Iron Hills.
Oh yeah, of course.
Iron Hills, and then you're going to have vice versa and stuff there. I'm guessing you're probably referring to the Kingdom of Khazad-dûm. The Kingdom of Khazad-dûm cannot ally with anybody. So there you go. Well, it can, but don't have green allies. They've got lots of yellow allies, so they lose the army bonuses that they would get. And what's going to be really interesting is, because I think a lot of people are going to be going for these kind of green army bonuses, wanting the army bonuses, it'll be when people start to realise, actually, you know, the army bonus isn't as good as combining this and this together.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I still think we're in that phase at the moment where everyone's still kind of going through and looking for, you know, either historical allies or a pure army. But
seeing things in isolation.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's easy. It's easy with new stuff to just see things, see profiles in isolation, see armies in isolation, rather than the whole bigger picture, and especially in conjecture with the rules as well. So yeah, it's an interesting time. Next up, we've got Michelle Rota.
I'm really hyped for the Battle of the Pelennor Fields box, but I got a lot of doubts because all the models in the box, excluding Theoden, are old models, and a lot of the models that were on the site till 3 days ago are no longer available. Isn't GW simply trying to sell the last remaining Lord of the Rings models? I think that's they've already confirmed that in the one of the community blog posts. That's yes, they're trying to sell off everything. It's done. Sorry, guys. No, of course they're not. They're I think they're repackaging and rebranding stuff, and I think they're putting stuff into different packs, so maybe multiples of stuff where where there wasn't previously. There is a bit of precedent for that.
Repackaging. I mean, I can remember one of the big, massive bits of feedback from the first couple of Ardacons from people, specifically about the GW stand, was just all of the white boxes. You know, how that didn't really look that great and doesn't look that appealing. And I guess when something is direct only and it's not having to be on a shop shelf, that's not so much of an issue. But now that a lot of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit miniatures are going back onto local gaming store shelves and maybe GW shelves as well, then of course they need to be a bit more appealing. So taking everything down so that everything can be repackaged basically. Now in terms of getting old miniatures in the Pelennor set apart from Theoden, what are your thoughts about that?
I think it's, you know, it's a minor system compared to Age of Sigmar and 40k for Games Workshop. I think we shouldn't try and kid ourselves thinking that this is a huge system, and I think to tool up, I know it costs a lot to do plastic tooling, so I know that as a consumer that shouldn't really be a concern to us, but I guess that Games Workshop wanted to see how well the Pelennor Fields box would sell and how popular the system can be before they commit to making any more plastics.
I mean, it's great value. You get an awful lot in that box for the price. You know, if you took all of those things, and yeah, they might be old, but I mean they're still good miniatures. You know, Riders of Rohan are still great. You know, and sure, I'm touching them up upstairs, and there are little bits of them, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, that's. I mean, Games Workshop's come a huge way with their plastics in even the last handful of years. Like some of the stuff that they bring out for Sigmar and 40k plastic wise, and even that plastic Theoden. I mean,
absolutely stunning.
My goodness, the detail from a plastic miniature that normally you would only have been able to get by having a resin miniature or even a metal miniature. You know, they have come on a long way. So the dream is to see more plastics, and we are starting to see some new plastics for Lord of the Rings, and we've got to be happy about that. Would I have liked to see have seen new Rise of Rohan plastic sculpts? Sure, because that'd be cool. But at the same time, not at the expense of, there are a bunch of profiles out there that don't have miniatures yet. And I'd rather them deal with all that stuff first of all. If you're bringing out a Pelennor box, it makes sense. Get the stock in there, make sure you create value in that box by filling it with that stock. There's a ton of value in there. You get Witch King on Fellbeast and trolls and bunches of troops. And
do you know, a lot of this is stuff that I've seen, you know, around for a very long time. But when I got my box, I literally sat there and studied each sprue, and I was looking at stuff, and I was like, thinking, these are still really, really good. They're still miniatures. Good. They're still fantastic.
They're still really, really good.
You know, fortunately, a lot of this I had a lot of the Rohan miniatures already, but all the other stuff I didn't actually have. So for me, it was fantastic value for money because I was expanding my collection of stuff, and again it was stuff that I probably have seen painted on tails, but I didn't get to see the sprues before. So yeah, for me, I was quite happy to have some of the existing stuff. It you know, I don't think it impacts on the way the game plays or anything, which I feel is a big draw of the game as well.
Yep, absolutely. So kind of followed on from that, Texan Councillor has put, has anyone else noticed that a bunch of models for Lord of the Rings have disappeared from the GW web store? They were there just a week ago and now they were gone. I can imagine that there's probably a little bit of frustration behind closed doors, because it seems like you would want to have all of that already done for when you release this, because you're going to get a bunch of new people heading onto the web store and then seeing that things aren't available. So from a business perspective, I can imagine, and I have no insight, but I can imagine I'd be very frustrated. I'd be very, very frustrated, because that could seem like a bit of a missed opportunity. Like that really should have happened to happen at the same time. Like all of that repackaged stuff should go up at the same kind of time on the web store. You know, but what's going on behind the scenes there, I have absolutely no idea, but at least you know why. At least you won't know why those things aren't available on the web store. It's because everything's getting repackaged, repriced. When I went into Element Games, I saw that you can buy the 24 Warriors again for a decent price.
Didn't that look cool in Element though? Like a whole bay of Middle-earth SBG stuff. It was something that I never thought I'd see again. But yeah, it looked fantastic. The branding and the packaging looks great as well. So
nerd me inside my brain cried when I saw that. You know, tears. Obviously, real James, you know, didn't, because I'm well hard. Okay. Next up, we've got Sheepman 224. That's a great name. Sheep, man. It's the little things, man.
It is the little things.
Little things.
So, hey, great vid as usual. Question for GBHL James. Will your Rivendell Knight army still work in the new edition? Love the look and would love to do the same, but only if it still works.
Yeah, so cavalry, again, check out the in-depth review of Rohan, because I kind of go through this a little bit, but I think cavalry gets a buff because of other things that are going on. So the fact that magic isn't as great, in particular Sorcerer's Blast, the fact that Hurl is a lot harder to orchestrate, you know, means that maybe we'll see less of those things. There's more things that kind of counter those, so we might see them going out of the meta a bit. So cavalry, I think still have a place. Of course, the Rivendell Knights, if you want them, you've got to bring Elrond. So does the
super themey.
Yeah, I'm well chuffed about that. Elrond's cool. I mean, I know that Kev of Shadow and Flame, who painted my Elrond to send to me, which was very, very lovely of him. I know that he had a huge amount of difficulty painting that Elrond. I mean, I think it is a nice model though. I would love to be able to bring him, and of course if I'm taking Rivendell Knights, then I am definitely bringing him. And you look at it, and you are almost certainly paying 190 points, which is 10 points more than the 2 Rivendell Knight captains that you would have taken previously. I don't know what Rivendell Knight captains or Rivendell captains.
I think they
just in now. Yeah, it's just a captain now,
yeah.
isn't it? Lance, shield, bow, and horse. Oh my goodness, they're going to be pretty expensive. 25 points more, so they would go up to 100 points. You know, I mean, they were great value at 90 points before. To be fair, they were great value. Do I think it still works? Yeah, I think that. Possibly as a kind of a very kind of quick army list off the top of your mind, you could take Elrond, Gandalf the Grey, because they're green allies, to support him, to strengthen will, and the like, so that you can keep topping him up, so he can keep on doing his Wrath of Brunnen, which is going to be really good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That
which is really good, and Elrond is a beast. He's a really, really, really strong hero. So does it still work? Yeah, I think it does. I think it just about does, and you just bring a bunch of Rivendell Knights with them. Ideally, you want to get a little bit of extra might in there if you can. 6 might isn't a lot, so you got to think about what you're doing. You know, yeah, I think the lack of might might be a little bit of an issue. You probably want a little bit more, but a lot of what you're doing is shooting at the enemy. And one of the good things about 100% bows with Rivendell Knights is normally you would just pick something and just kill it, you know, a hero or anything else. So yeah, I think it will. I'm going to give it a go. Next question is Jason Stewart. Isn't the Warg Marauder a 5 attack model? 1 for the Warg, 3 for the Goblins if they don't fire the bows, and 1 for the extra cavalry charge bonus?
I think, isn't it only the 2 Goblins on the back? I think the driver doesn't. Not the driver, you know what I mean.
Let's have a look. Apologies for the quietness. Oh yeah, because it is split up now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then again, no, it won't be. It's still 4 attacks, because when you're mounted, like your horse doesn't make an attack, or your warg doesn't make an attack if you're a warg rider. It's just that you get +1 attack on the charge. That's the bonus for it. So it's not like you get 1 attack for the warg, 3 attacks, and then a +1. You're getting the 3 attacks from the riders, and then +1 for being mounted when you charge. That's where the extra attack comes in. So it's 4.
4 on the charge.
4 on the charge.
Yeah.
There you go. Hope that helps. John McConnell's next.
Missed you guys at Nova this year.
Missed you too. Great guy. Took us to a lovely Mexican restaurant with his family at the end of the last Nova, I think it was. So yeah, top guy.
Very good. Where is it? Damien, as the GBHL standard bearer, was very visible and very welcome. Question time. Will you be digging into each army again with the new videos for each, with how each of the factions have changed? I think you've already started that.
I'm done now. I'm out. I've done what I want to do.
The one you know about.
Yeah, everything else I'm a bit clueless on. No, so yeah, I think that's something that we want to do. Again, Jamie and I have spoken about it. I know that Tom and Damien are definitely going to be wanting to do that as part of the Palantir. I assume that will be returning very soon. Now that he's back from Nova. Gutted. Nova's amazing. If you ever get a chance to go over, I guess it's what a lot of the guys who come over to Ardcon get the experience of.
Yeah.
Remember going to Nova, inspired Ardcon. Ardcon wouldn't have happened without it. So, yeah, going over there for me is a must do again. We've got Bits and Bolts. Glad you guys are back. I play Morio and I was wondering how they hold up with the new rules. What do you think? Have you had a look?
I've read Morio a couple of times.
Balrog's
I
good.
really like the Balrog. I think he's kind of what the Balrog should have always been, and I think he's just fantastic. I think one of the frustrations that a lot of people are seeing is the Black Shields aren't quite as good as they used to be, and I think
so. Why would the little goblin be strength 4?
Yeah, there's no difference between like a size of a Black Shield and a normal goblin. So now I think you will see less Black Shields, and I think you'll see more just regular goblins, which it should have been. That's what.
And I think when you look at most army lists, you'd kind of have that as a trend. Maybe apart from Rohan, where there's kind of less focus on the elites and trying to get sort of more rank and file.
Yeah.
In there.
I think they've almost given a reason to take the rank and file, and I think some of the army lists that I've seen for Moria so far have been things like the Balrog and a Dweller, and then if you're going up points, 2 Dwellers and then 4 Dwellers, and they seem quite good. Some of the heroes haven't changed a huge amount.
It's a very diverse, I guess, army list. Morio, you still have a couple of handfuls of which ways of really that you want to go. Whether you want to be kind of, I guess, beast or monster heavy in lots of ways, whether you want to really kind of hoard it out with your troops, and you still have options to have kind of an elite build kind of army. I mean, their army bonus is interesting. Fairly more goblin models involved in a fight where their opponent is trapped receive a bonus of +1 to their fight value. So yeah, I mean Are
they fight 2?
They fight 2 mainly, but you do have a Morio goblin. De Bert's, for example, is fight 4.
Yeah.
So again, if he's trapping something, goes up to fight 5.
With if you're taking the numbers there, it should be fairly easy to trap stuff.
Oh yeah, it should be. It's just whether it's going to make who's it going to make a difference against. I mean, make a difference against Moira Minister.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So because all of a sudden even if he gets that 6 when he's shielding and you're all around him, you're going up +1, you're matching fight value, you've at least got a 50-50 chance. We all know what it's like when we've trapped an enemy model. And there, if they've got a shield, they shield, or if they've not got a shield, they roll 1 dice, and because they're high fighting, they get the 6. You roll with all of these dice. You're like, oh well, so yeah, I think it's an interesting special. I think Morio are going to be cool. Go and check out. I believe that Jasmine Tetley has written. I'm not sure if it's up yet, but will have written a contributing article for Mikolai's blog, Vendi Vici. Not sure. Go onto the Great British Helmet League Facebook page.
It'll be there.
Just ask where can I read Mick's blog, and I believe that she's doing an article about different ways that you can use Morio. She uses Morio quite a lot, so she's probably a bit more qualified to talk about it than me. Next up, we've got J Sam's 1.
With the new changes, are ring wraiths still viable? What sort of army composition would you put them in?
What are your thoughts on ring wraiths?
I've never actually played with ring wraiths, so I'm not entirely sure. Will we still see them? I think we probably will.
Yeah, I think we still will. It's not that they're not good now, so I think that we will still see them. It's just that, again, if you compare them to where they were previously, they were really, really, really good. Really good. The combination of magic being so great, some of the spells that they could cast being so great, flying around on seemingly untouchable at times, flying monsters that can do all kinds of crazy stuff, and a handful of them having abilities that, effectively shield shield you from the main weakness of being a ring wraith, which is of course the will of evil, losing a point of will every time that you're in combat. So things like the Knight of Umbar and the like. And the Knight of Umbar still has that. Well, what you do see with each of them is they've got they have to spend a point of will to do a lot of their special rules. So, for example, the Undying, if you want to regain a point of will for each magical power successfully cast within by another model within 6 inches, he has to spend a point of will at the beginning of that. So he has to kind of stake that, and I think that that's quite cool to see across the board. So Knight of Umbar does that with combat mimicry.
That will management becomes a little bit more important.
Well, one thing that they can't do is they can't heroic strike, and I think that could be a big deal. It stops them from being, especially with the changes to immobilize and or transfix and compel. If you want the effects from before, you have to channel it. So you have to invest a point of might, which means that you're going to have less might on the board, which they seem to have generally anyway. Knight of Umbar's gone down to 2, for example. Really, you need their might mostly for those heroic moves. You're going to probably want it to transfix if you're going to be a hero. They're not the kind of character assassins that maybe they were previously.
No.
Also, it seems it's easy to talk about this. I'm actually really looking forward to just seeing all this on the table. We can theory hammer it to death, but really, do we know yet? We don't, because we just need to play the game. So thank you very much for that. In terms of what army compositions we put them in, how do we see them at the moment? We normally see 1 supporting an army, or 2 supporting an army, or all ring wraiths and fell beasts, if you are skilled enough to play with that. Ian Marley.
I have a question. Where have all the hero models gone from the website? Are we stuck in some sort of out of production purgatory?
I've already answered that, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. No.
They've been repackaged. Hobby Spot NZ. Hi guys, good to see you back. My question is, what do you think about the Rangers list? I'm struggling to make a list for them at the moment. Cheers.
It's all hero, isn't it?
It is all hero. Mentioning the new edition of the game is not a bad thing, really. So yeah, I mean, let's look at what the main complaints are for people when they look at the Rangers list. It's because no longer do you have access to Rangers of Arnor. I'm like, it's all right, because I guess the Grey Company weren't.
They were elites. They were.
Yeah, they were the final few. It was 30 of them that rode down with Halbrand to go and assist Aragorn. So there weren't many of them. So what do we get in here? You got Arathorn in there. He's got accuracy and strike. Hero with strike. It's a good thing. Obviously, you got your historical penalties. So if you put him in and Aragorn is in there, you lose the army bonus. Halbrad's in there. The banner is the banner cheaper?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I'll let you check that. I think the banner might be a little bit cheaper, maybe 40 points. Although he's a bit more expensive. Getting the Fearless special is good. He's good. You've got Rangers of the North. Rangers of the North are more expensive now. They are 5 points more expensive. The horse costs 10 points and the spear on 1. So instead of getting a Ranger of the North mounted, usually coming to, because they were 25 points before, and if you put them on a horse which was 6 points, they go to 31. The fact that they have to pay 10 points for a horse, I think, is maybe a bit galling, because they are one attack.
Yeah, the banner was 60 points before.
Yeah, banner was 60 points. So Halbrand with banner is better than he was before. Now the main thing, you got Dunedain as well. They go to 25 points. They're 1 point more expensive than they were, and of course they are exactly the same as a Ranger of the North, except they are -1 defence.
That 5 points seems quite like a big jump there.
Yeah,
I guess that's how heroes are structured. But it was only, I think you had to pay 1 point. Was it previously for armour? I think were they doing
no for heroes. For heroes, you pay 5 points for.
Yeah, but I mean in the old. Let's have a quick look. Actually.
Oh yeah, so before it was 24 points and 25 points.
That was it. Yeah, yeah.
1 point difference.
Yeah.
So their army bonus here, I guess, is key in the way that they want you to kind of play this, which is everything becomes woodland creature, which I guess is thematic and pretty good. The the Rangers of the North and Dundee may benefit from the standfast of Arathorn, Halbrand and Algorn Strider, which is decent considering I think that they're only coach 4, so that's good. That's a nice change. And Rangers of the North and Dundee increase their attack value to 2 whilst they have the infantry keyword. That's better.
Yeah.
That's better. So I think that you'll probably see, that's especially good for the Dunedain. I think for the Rangers of the North, the decision to mount them or not comes in, but then you are losing the benefits of the woodland creature if you mount them. In terms of what kind of army to build, I think you got to get Strider in there. Strider, Halbrand, and then just see what you've got left points wise. You've kind of got to go for those two because of what they bring to the table. What do you think?
Yeah. Would you go for Dunedain or would you go for Rangers?
I honestly think that if I was going for why you say that? I mean, there's a big difference between defence 5, defence 4. There's a lot of strength 4 out there, but that extra 5 points, I guess it really just depends on what points level you build in and what kind of fits in with that vest, and you'll probably look at it and go, right, okay, what am I more likely to come up against, etc. But yeah, really interesting one. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think I've got about 20 on Dunedain, and they're waiting to be painted, so maybe something to add to the list for in about 4 years' time. Next up, we've got RNF 220.
Appreciate making the videos, keep them coming.
Thank you very much, and here is another one coming. Next up, Gilgalad 62.
Watching Damien's video made me go out and order the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, which is excellent. So good advertising, Games Workshop. Also, just seeing Damien at Nova made me fangirl a bit. Had a great time at my first tournament, even though my last alliance list only did okay. I'm looking forward to continuing playing. Also guys, I got a question. There is no Primal Fun Anarian, but the Numenor list states that a model with this special rule gains the resistant to magic rule whilst they are within 6 inches of Elendil, Isildur or Anarian. Am I missing something?
Well, we're all missing something for now, but it's a little bit of a nod and a hint to something which maybe we'll have to look forward to and can be excited about going forward, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Glad you went to Nova and enjoyed it, and yeah, I guess always good to see GBHL Damien.
Absolutely. We all fangirl over Damien though, don't we? Well, maybe you don't, but
yeah. Well, he's my peer. We are peers, aren't we?
oh yeah, of course.
We are peers. You are a mere mortal.
Yeah, true. True.
So back in your place. Read a question. Wow.
The loop lives. Long live the loop. My single most exciting change is to the Lord of the Rings armies was for the Easterlings.
That's because, Jind Singh, you love Easterlings, and the changes for them are good. Easterlings are good.
Really good, really good. It just made me swoon with delight. I also loved how Balin and Floy were specific to a Moria only list. It was intuitive and well crafted. What cool things have you noticed in the Lord of the Rings army book that made you think, well played, that's genius?
Well, I let you do that whilst I stuff.
There's a lot of stuff actually. I think when I first started flicking through the books, the synergy between like the Rohan heroes was something was quite cool. Being a Gondor player, again the synergies between some of the heroes there. So Denethor, if Boromir's on the table, he doesn't have his Broken Mind special rule. That's quite cool and thematic. While Faramir, if Denethor is on the table, he becomes a bit more reckless and has to charge if he can. I think it kind of adds a few more tactical choices to what you're doing, and things like, again, just going back to Denethor, if he's in your army, he has to be the leader because he is the Steward of Gondor. Why would Boromir be your leader if you've got Denethor kind of there sat in the back? Really, it just doesn't make sense. So I think there's a lot of little things like that which have really ticked the box for me, which make it super themey. And it just means that you can't kind of take advantage of little loopholes of things that aren't really specified in the game, and just how all the whole heroes kind of work around each other. Really, completely agree with all of that. There's a lot of nice, cool little Easter eggs, I guess you call them. Little nods, and So you of course were talking about your faction of choice. I mean, I could talk about any of them, but for myself, little things with the Rohirrim,
You know, the Horse Lord special rule I thought was a really kind of cool thing that we talked about as fans before, as maybe being something that the Rohirrim could do as a nod to the fact that they are the Horse Lords. You know, I thought that little special rule was quite cool, and it's little things like, you know, Theoden is a much better profile now, but if Grima's around,
Yeah,
you know, like,
that's cool. Yeah.
That's cool. You know, I really like stuff like that. Little things. Theoden's stand past 12 inches rather than 6. It's cool, right? It's cool. Reckless charge for Theodred. The price of grief for Éomer, and the combined profile. Like, who can strike? Who can challenge? All those little considerations I love. Absolutely love them. I shall kill you if you touch him. This is just oozing with thematic and fluffy goodness.
So is that where Éowyn has to head toward, if Theoden dies, she has to head towards where he was killed?
You put a 25mm marker where he fell, and she must move directly towards the marker during each of her move phases if she is able to. Once Éowyn has moved within 3 inches of the marker, she may not willingly move further than 3 inches away from it for any reason for the remainder of the game. Additionally, whilst within 3 inches of the marker, she becomes fearless and must re-roll any fail to wound rolls. In addition, she also receives a bonus of +1 to wound when making strikes against the model that slew Theoden.
It's pretty cool.
It's good. It's just thematic, and you know, I guess. In the previous edition of the game, you'd look at Éowyn and go, "There's no way that Éowyn's going to be the Witch King on a Fell Beast." You know.
But actually, now it makes, you know, re-rolling reloading to wound.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you know, this might happen. You know, what she's
fight 5.
Yeah, she's fight 5. I mean, she was fight 5 before. You know, but also gets +1 strength on the charge. She goes up to strength 4 and re-roll fails to wound rolls and +1 to wound.
You know, heroic strike. So again, you know, going up against the Witch King who can't heroic strike, it's
absolutely. Mary can do that as well. Mary can heroic strike. Incredible. So little things like that. Absolutely love. Again, just sticking on the Rohirrim because I love it. It's all fresh. Stuff like Horn and a Hammerhand only affecting Rohan models. Great. Don't want Erkenbrand just being dropped into random forces that he doesn't deserve. Obviously, you know, Westfold Red Shield isn't as good now. You know, but I do like the idea of a ban effect for Rohirrim. Gamling and Hummer and Grimbold having 3 might instead of 2. You know, this is amazing. That's the kind of thing that you want to see. And just all of the fluffy stuff. So, you know, some people might turn around and go, oh, you know, Sons of Ale, like, you know, I own lots of Sons of Ale, don't I?
Yeah, you've got quite a few. Yeah.
There's lots.
I've been victim to them as well.
People would be like, oh, they're butthurt about you know, the changes. It's cool and it makes sense. It really does make sense, you know. Sons of Ale getting buffed when with Ale and owning captains and all that kind of thing, you know, that's kind of how it should be. So I guess all of those kind of little nods and the like are what make it absolutely fantastic. So finally, the final question, 47. We're on 116, so we've not done too bad. We've got War again, Sajind. Mr. Clark, well done on the Warhammer Hero title. How was Award Night? It's hanging up over there. You want to go grab the medal? Try not to knock anything. The studio will come collapsing down now. You'll see. Look at that. Hey, got a bit of weight to that, hasn't it, Mr. Bowles?
Oh, barely lifted it.
I'm surprised, honestly, that I didn't wear this throughout the entire Speak Tendon question. That's the mouse gone. So, as you can see, Games Workshop very kindly decided to bestow upon me this Medal of Heroes.
Is that what it's called?
No, I've just been watching a lot of Wreck-It Ralph with Eleanor. This Warhammer Hero Medal, which is really lovely. That means that some of you guys out there in the community basically said that you really appreciate anything that I've done, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's events. I've got no idea what people would have said. They were pretty general, and it sounds like a lot of people did it. So thank you so much. The award night was incredible. Like, I cannot believe that Jane got the date wrong and that we had to drive back. It was a free bar, you know, loads of cool people that I've not met before, free bar, a wonderful 3 or 4 course meal with a presentation surrounded by other really nice guys. Everybody was getting absolutely off their face, and I couldn't because I was driving us back.
Because you had to go see Ed Sheeran?
No, that was different. That was different. Jane just got it completely wrong. She had to work the next day. That's why we had to drive back from Coventry. But it was amazing. So thank you very much to Andy and the gang, part of the community team, at Games Workshop. I very much do appreciate my nice shiny medal. And thank you to any of you guys out there that were kind enough to think about me when it came to voting. It wasn't you, was it?
No, definitely not.
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was. So that is it. We've got 2 Speak Friend and questions in a row. You enjoyed being part of it, Ben?
Loved it.
I do see quite a bit of you, so I'm sure that the guys here will see a little bit more of you. It's always good when there's 2 in the video. Get a little bit of banter, which is always nice. How are you with the sign off? Can you remember the GBHL sign off?
Or can have a go.
Can have a pop?
Yeah.
Have a pop since we're going to be closing off. Thanks for asking questions. If you've never been on Speak Friend and Question before, if you want questions answering the next time that we do a video, which normally comes out on a Sunday. I say normally, back in the day would come out every single Sunday. Make sure that you put your questions in the comments below and we will try and answer them. And then you are stuck in the loop that everyone's been talking about forever and ever and ever once you ask a question. So give it a go.
Oh no, I bottled it.
Don't forget to
support your hobby.
No!
Right, you better do it then.
Don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Support
your
your
Hobbit host in the links below.
By checking the links in the video description below. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Support your Hobbit hobby.
And happy
Strategy.
battle.
Gaming. See you all soon, folks.